2 decent writing days in a row? Is it possible? Can it happen? I mean, like, apparently, because I seem to have pulled it off, sort of, kind of, a little bit. Not as good as yesterday, but, like, still pretty okay, because, I mean, today's been, like, super duper shitty, but, you know, the writing part has been good. Like, it's the only part that's been good, but it's been good, which means, like, close enough, you know? Like, I'll just count it as a good day and go to bed, which is literally probably what I'm gonna do, like, as soon as I, you know, stop doing this and, like, wash my hair, because that hasn't happened in a little while, which is why it's very angry at me right now, but, you know, whatever, not the point, none of that is the point. We're talking about writing things, which is always fun. I wrote, like, a decent amount today, which is quite surprising, but I think I was using it just to ignore all my other issues and problems that I don't want to have to think about. But yeah, my word count is 3,194, which is, like, not too terrible. That's what, about 600-ish more words than last time, which, I mean, like, pretty solid. I mean, you know, like, not insane, like, I'm not, you know, marathoning myself here, but, like, in real life, who does? Who really does, you know? Like, who writes entire novels in 1 month? Almost nobody. So I'm counting it as a good day. But yeah, so that's sort of that, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've actually, like, gotten to a stopping point at, like, the end of, like, the first chapter, and there was, like, a little bitty prologue, which usually I hate prologues, like the ones that are, like, flashed from the future, or, like, from way back in the past and all that, and, like, sort of give everything away. I hate those. I hate that when books have them. I usually skip them. But, like, this one isn't technically a prologue, but it also is, like, really, really short, and it felt weird making it, like, a first chapter, so I didn't. But, anywho, yeah, did that, but I got to the end of the first chapter, and so I'm, like, forcing, like, people I know to read it, which, I mean, has been, like, hell, because they're all just like, oh, cool, I don't really want to, but, you know, maybe I'll think about it if you email it to me and then beg me, you know, every 5 seconds, like, maybe I'll get around to it. But I've been sort of worrying for, like, a few reasons, and one of the main reasons is that the main character cannot speak. They, you know, have to use sort of, like helter-skelter sign language stuff, which I don't really know that much about sign language, but I like to use this experience to learn things about stuff every now and then. But, oh no, the point is that the main character also doesn't know that much about sign language, because they're not technically deaf, they just can't speak. But also, they're in a situation where the people they're around can't know that they aren't actually deaf, and so they have to kind of pretend that they know sign language, but also not, you know, so there's a lot of this, you know, if I'm trying to think of how they're going to say something, I think, you know, like, what's the most obvious way you try and portray that, and then if I can't think of anything that's super obvious, I actually Google what the sign language term for that is, because I feel like that's what someone in that situation would also do. So, like, there was one thing where they were trying to explain that they were cold, and then, you know, in my brain, you know, when I'm trying to motion to someone that, like, cold, like, I think about doing that, because, like, that means cold in my brain. But actually, like, the sign language thing for that is this, like, shaking your fists, which, I mean, I guess sort of makes sense, but I don't like the other one because it's a bit more obvious, at least in my mind, so I'm hoping that works out. But, I don't know, I was just hoping that, you know, when you're trying to get, you know, characters that can't, well, I mean just the main character, you know, the narrator, who can't really, you know, have dialogue with anybody, it's made it a bit more complicated and interesting, but not, like, too bad, give or take. So, yeah. So I'm, like, trying to force people to read it to tell me, like, if it makes any sense, because of course it makes sense to me, because I wrote the damn thing. But I don't know if it makes sense to someone who's just entering now and doesn't, you know anything about sign language or anything about, you know, like if I'm writing out, like, I did this and then did this to, indicate this and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I also just sort of decided to mention, sort of maybe, like, I don't know. Number one, when it comes to reading, I do like technically read quite a bit, but I also have ADD and am really bad at reading like physical books, the ones with the words on paper and stuff. I'm very bad at that, which I mean, I guess is technically kind of ironic, but I don't know. I feel like writing and, actually reading something is very different in my mind, I guess. I don't know. So I actually listen to audiobooks 99.99999% of the time, unless I absolutely have to. Or unless I'm editing something that I wrote, which, it's kind of a different thing when you're doing that. I guess, when you already like know what's supposed to happen and what everything sounds like, and you're not even entirely reading it, you're sort of just like bleh. But yeah, I'm very, very bad. Like, I don't actually own almost any physical books. Like, I don't, like, I move all the time and travel all the time and just don't feel the need to have them if I don't read them. Like, I think I have, like, 4 or 5 sitting in storage somewhere in, like, my parents' storage unit and 3 cities away and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, but, I don't know. I have been trying to read more like independently published books, but also finding things that are independently published are something I'd be interested in reading and are in audiobook form. It's not that easy, but I've sort of kind of been doing it, and so I wanted to be like, maybe I could like talk about them, because that's sort of kind of relevant, but also I feel really bad because I have a rule. There is one rule to me doing this and like talking to other human beings about writing things, that I do not review books. I do not do that, and I will refrain from doing that as much as is humanly possible, or in any specific detail. Oh, been unfocused. Come back. Because it opens up a lot of things, because if I say, I hate it when people do this or that, but then, like, there's still a chance that I might end up doing that, or something, or someone could claim that, like, I do that sort of stuff, and, like, how can you say this is bad when your book is so much worse? And there's just a lot of issues there with, like, I don't feel like I'm in the position to criticize other people's writing when I also do the exact same thing, because it kind of sounds like I'm saying I'm better than them, and I'm not, and I know I'm not, and all that sort of stuff, but it's much easier to criticize other people's stuff than it is to criticize your own in, like, a real way. I can tell myself I'm a piece of shit all the time, and, like, only half believe it, but, it's a different entity entirely to being, like, at another book, like, this is terrible, this is all the things wrong with it, etc. But, yeah, I also ran into this thing because I was like, I'm gonna talk about independently published books, but also, the one I'm reading right now I don't like at all, and I don't want to, like, like, no one actually sees this, or is listening to what I'm saying right now. I'm literally talking to myself, but I don't know, I still feel really guilty if I mention this, this fine enough, independently published book that was nice enough to have it made into an audiobook, and say that I actually don't really like it. It just, it hurts my soul a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to blame a lot of it on the fact that I think I might have actually somehow, someway outgrown young adult books, which I don't know, like, it kind of saddens me, because I think it's a sign that I'm getting old, and I know adults can read young adult books as much as they want, and a lot of them do, and obviously mostly adults write young adult books, and all that sort of stuff, but I feel like I don't, like, mentally connect with it in the way that, I once did, because, like, this one particular book was a young adult book, because I don't really read a whole bunch of them now, but it had a relatively interesting premise and stuff, and, since they're kind of hard to find, I was like, sure, cool, why not, and all that sort of stuff. And I have also been kind of going back and, like, re-listening to books that I liked when I was a teenager, and it's just, even those, I don't know, it's just, like, and again, maybe it's just, like, my age group, because, I'm 20, like, I'm not, like, a hardcore adult yet. I guess, you know, like I am, but also still like not that far away. Like I was a teenager like yesterday, but I feel like there's just, you know, there's like a mental disconnect once you've like been out of high school for like 3 or 4 years, and you're just not mentally there, and like all the problems that a lot of these characters are facing are just things that you don't really deal with and you know are stupid, I guess, like because you know when you're writing as a teenager from a teenager's perspective, a lot of very silly things are very important, and I'm reading it, I'm just like, oh no, oh no, oh god, it's the end of the world, the boy you likes another girl, oh god, like it's just, it's not, I or you know, or there's always a mean, hot, blonde, bimbo-y cheerleader person who is really mean to the main character for no reason. Always. Or some, like, slight equivalent of it. Every single time. And it makes me so angry because I never encountered that. I don't know anybody in real life who has ever encountered anything like that. And I mean, maybe, like, I went to a very small, like, academy school, so I mean, like, maybe that's it. But I don't know. It all just seems very silly and all that sort of stuff. And so, I don't know. Like maybe I just shouldn't read them anymore, and like my brain won't just be like picking them apart in my brain as I'm listening to them, because I just have like so little sympathy for some of these characters now, and I feel kind of bad about it. This is a very long rant, but I've been thinking about it today because I listen to audiobooks because for my drives to like work and back are usually at least an hour, but I do work all over the place because I have clients that live like, you know, about like a 2 or 3 hour, you know, bubble around where my house is. So I usually drive like a lot, and so I listen to a lot of audiobooks very quickly because that's just what I do as I drive, because also it's in rural areas and I very rarely have like internet connection to listen to like Spotify or whatever. So yeah, and I just, you know, when you find yourself sitting and listening to a book for a very long time and your brain is just because I mean, it was just like some of these, because I mean, you know, with all of the books I've written, you know, a lot of them either have magical realism, some kind of, you know, paranormally something, like I like, you know, contemporarily set things with something a little bit strange about them. That's generally what I find entertaining and all that. And with a lot of those types of books, like especially, you know, when I was a teenager and all the ones that are based for like young adult people, it's generally like, you know, hello, I'm a high school girl and I have moved to a new place, and like there's a hot guy here and he's kind of weird, and also there's a bitchy hot cheerleader type, you know, over there, and she also likes him, but he really likes me, and it's that kind of stuff, and it's just, oh god, I don't, because I used to really like stories like that when I was younger, and now I just listen to it and I'm just like, oh god, you know, oh, shut up, you're 16, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're doing, stop. And I don't know, it's not, like I say this, technically the novella is about like, is like young adult and all that sort of stuff, so I probably have made a lot of these mistakes that I'm whining about. You know, in my defense, both of the books that I have like published so far are parodies. They are sort of satirical and stuff, if you want to think of them that way, if they're actually like good enough to be considered actual satire and not just me just blowing smoke up my own asshole, I don't know. But yeah, I'm ranting a lot because this is in my brain all day and I don't have anyone to talk to about it. So this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm coping, and it's not great. It's not a good thing, but I mean, it seems to be working for me so far, so like I might keep doing it. Like I probably will, because I like having an excuse to talk to myself out loud. It, you know, makes me feel a bit more sane sometimes, which I mean, I'm a perfectly sane individual, but like in like, you know, the hashtag relatable way. Kind of going crazy, but yeah. Anywho, that was a little update on also kind of book related stuff, you know, to add some content into some of these things, because I don't know, when I'm talking about a story that I'm writing where I can't really say what's going on and like what I'm doing, what I'm dealing with in any great detail, then it gets kind of, you know, I don't know, I feel the need to actually have something of like substance to like maybe say and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes, maybe, I don't know. Anywho, if anyone is out there and just so happens to see this, you know, hi, what do you think? Do you have opinions? You probably do, because you're like a real human being and stuff, and real human beings, you know, with like brains and stuff, generally have opinions on things. And like maybe you're like one of those people that's like really opinionated, which I mean you probably are because this is the internet, who's just like, yeah, I have an opinion and I'm gonna like tell you about it and all that sort of stuff. So like you can totally do that, because I'd be pretty into that. So like do that, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's about it for me for right now. Buy my book, Amazon, paperback, probably a link in that thing down there for you to buy it. They're both like 99 cents, you know. Please, please, I'm begging you.